This is Mac OS Ken.
A trio of troubles for Apple shares. Apple sues a YouTube leaker. And F1 the movie races past 400 million. It is Monday, the 21st of July, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. A strange write-up of a note on Apple from HSBC to start us off today. Investing.com has the bank indicating that Apple's big problem is the way artificial intelligence is lagging on iPhone. Well, that and tariff concerns and regulatory concerns. But really, it's AI. According to HSBC, iPhone still represents about half of Apple's sales, but initial hopes that AI would accelerate the renewal cycle have been short-lived. If it doesn't get its AI act together, users may wait to upgrade, warns the bank. Or users might be excited about a new iPhone. The firm thinks better specs with iPhone 17 in September could drive demand in line with last year's upgrades for iPhone 16. That's assuming the price doesn't go up significantly, which drops us off in Tariff Town. According to the report, tariffs are said to remain a significant concern. HSBC noted Apple cannot relocalize production fast enough to avoid U.S. tariff hikes, estimating that consensus forecasts now assume a 20% increase in tariffs on Chinese imports. While the piece doesn't spell out why that's a concern, two obvious reasons leap to mind. If iPhone is hit with tariffs, either from China or India, and Apple passes that cost on to consumers, some consumers might balk, hurting Apple revenue. On the other hand, if Apple eats the cost of iPhone tariffs, it'll take a hit to its own profitability. Neither road is without its bumps. Then there's the whole regulatory thing. On top of trade headwinds, the piece says legal risks are building. The European Commission is investigating Apple for potential violations of the Digital Markets Act, and a U.S. Department of Justice lawsuit alleging market monopolization adds long-term risk to the business model, according to the bank. Really, though, the problem is AI. HSBC has a hold on Apple shares. The firm's price target on the shares is $220. Perhaps making AI moves harder for Apple is more poaching by Meta. A piece from my Download blog cites a Bloomberg report that says Meta has hired two key members of Apple's Foundation Models group. This after Meta hired away Apple's head of that group earlier this month. Government officials in the UK may back off their demand for a backdoor into iCloud encryption. That's the word from two secret British officials to the Financial Times. According to the report, the officials both said the Home Office, the department of the UK government, which ordered the tech giant in January to grant access to its most secret cloud storage system, would probably have to retreat in the face of pressure from senior leaders in Washington, including Vice President J.D. Vance. Apple, the UK government, and the Office of the US Vice President each either declined to comment or didn't respond to a request for comment, according to the Financial Times. And of course, the whole thing is supposed to be a secret, so if the government does back off the demand, it's hard to imagine we'll ever know that. Apple is suing YouTuber and occasional leaker John Prosser. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company is going after him over a few leaked videos tied to iOS 26. They included a video in January that showed a recreation of iPhone's redesigned camera app, a March video that mocked up anticipated changes to the Messages app, and an April video that fleshed out the look of Liquid Glass, the design language on which this fall's OS updates will be built. For the most part, Prosser was right. And now, he's in Apple's crosshairs. The Cupertino company filed suit at the end of the week last week against Prosser and a friend of a former Apple employee. The employee was made former for letting Apple's secret slip and not owning up to it once the employee found out what had happened. As for the suit, Apple says Prosser and the former employee's friend plotted to access the employee's phone, acquiring their passcode, then using location tracking to determine when they would be gone for an extended period. Prosser reportedly offered financial compensation to the friend in return for assisting with accessing the development iPhone. Mischief perpetrated, Apple says the friend used the development phone to call Prosser, showing off iOS 26 running on the development iPhone. Prosser screen capped the call, according to Apple, then made recreated renderings of iOS 26 for his videos. Thing is, it's all stuff that was shown off at WWDC, stuff to which worldwide developers now have access. Why go after Prosser at this point? My gut says spite, though Apple's suit does list a better reason than that. They say the development phone had a significant amount of additional Apple trade secret information that has not yet been publicly disclosed, and they don't know how much of that was nabbed in the enterprise. In order to protect its trade secret, says Mac Rumors, Apple has filed the lawsuit to request an injunction against further disclosure of Apple's confidential trade secret information and is seeking damages over the misappropriation of them. Taking his side of the story to the Volk was Mr. Prosser. He hit the Heil site late last week, saying, "This is not how things went down on my end. Looking forward to being able to speak to Apple about it." And saying in a separate post, "For the record, I certainly did not plot to access anyone's phone and was unaware of the situation playing out." Solihull, England's Touchwood Centre Apple store is moving across the mall later this week. A piece from Mac Rumors says the circa 2007 store, with its Genius Bar icon and brushed aluminium interior, will close for the final time this Thursday, the 24th of July, at 6 p.m. That will leave the mall without an Apple store for about 39 hours. New digs, likely more in keeping with Apple's current store style, will open directly across from the old store on Saturday, the 26th of July at 9 a.m. With just under 2 weeks until the Season 4 premiere, Apple TV Plus has dropped a trailer for Stillwater, which is totally weird. I mean, I guess it's not. Them dropping a trailer leads to sites like 9to5Mac writing a story, which leads to people like me talking about it. But it's a mindfulness show for kids. Trailer's not likely to be action-packed. Can't imagine they left Season 3 on a cliffhanger. That said, Stillwater is one of the highest-rated kids shows on Apple TV Plus, according to 9to5Mac, having picked up a number of awards since its premiere. Teasing the show, Apple says through breathing exercises, mindful moments, and simple everyday practices, this uplifting Peabody and Daytime Emmy Award-winning series invites you and your family to discover your own Zen through each episode. The first 3 seasons of Stillwater are available to stream now on Apple TV+. The 4th season will drop on Friday, the 1st of August. You can catch the Season 4 trailer on YouTube. And finally today, news from the box office. A piece from Apple Insider over the weekend indicates that the Apple Originals blockbuster F1 The Movie has moved well past the $400 million mark. When the site wrote its piece on Saturday, the ticket tracker Box Office Mojo had worldwide receipts at about $399.5 million. Checking Box Office Mojo Sunday night, they had ticket sales a little over $460.8 million. That means a new top 5 hit for Mr. Pitt. Before this summer's racing phenom, his 5th most successful film was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Ticket sales for that film hit about $377.4 million, according to Apple Insider. F1 pushes that out of Pitt's top 5. The racing film is now the actor's 4th highest grossing film. Ocean's 11, which had ticket sales of about $450.7 million, moves into the 5th spot. Fine for Mr. Pitt, but what does it mean for Apple? Well, for Apple it means they can make a certified box office hit. Not that they're gonna every time. Apple's next theatrical release, the Spike Lee joint Highest to Lowest, had a much smaller budget and will see a much shorter theatrical run. 2 weeks straddling the end of August and the beginning of September. The next blockbuster, about which we know, has Apple signing up with the same producer-director team behind F1 for a UFO conspiracy thriller. Last we heard, though, the script on that hadn't even been finalized, so no telling when that will hit the screen. macOS Can, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOScan. Advertising handle by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOScan at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macoscan.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.